Today, we're going to talk about something you've probably never thought much about, but that affects literally everything you own. We're exploring the hidden arteries of the global economy. They're narrow, they're super vulnerable, and they're called the world's choke points.
Get ready for this number, an incredible 90%. Yeah, 90% of all international commerce travels by sea. I mean, think about it. The car you drive, the coffee you had this morning, its journey almost certainly involved a gigantic ship crossing an ocean. Our entire way of life is basically built on this massive maritime superhighway.
So in this massive system, what do you call its most critical, most fragile points? Well, experts have a pretty dramatic name for them, the geographical Achilles heels of the global economy. And honestly, it's a fitting description, because if just one of these points gets hit, the entire system feels the pain.
All right, so let's break down exactly what a maritime choke point really is.
Essentially, the easiest way to think about it is like a funnel. It's a narrow stretch of water, like a strait, where huge volumes of shipping are forced into this one tight passage. It concentrates global trade into just a few highly vulnerable locations. And that fragility is what makes these choke points so concerning. A lot of them are located right near politically unstable nations, which makes the risks incredibly high. As you can see, they can be mined, they can be blocked by sinking ships, or even attacked from land. Any one of those things could bring a huge portion of world trade to a grinding halt.
So where are these places? Let's actually map out some of the most critical natural choke points on the planet.
First up, perhaps the most famous and strategically important of them all, the Strait of Hormuz, connecting the Persian Gulf to the open ocean.
Its importance is just, well, it's hard to overstate. A staggering 88% of all petroleum exported from the Persian Gulf must pass through this one narrow strait. This makes it, quite literally, the jugular vein of the world's energy supply.
Okay, our next stop takes us over to Southeast Asia and the incredibly busy Strait of Malacca.
So if Hormuz is about oil, Malacca is about, well, almost everything else. It is the main superhighway for ships traveling between the factories of Asia and the markets of Europe. A massive portion of the world's manufactured goods sails right through here.
Heading back toward the Middle East, we arrive at the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, which is the crucial link between the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea.
Now, its real significance lies in the connection it provides to the Suez Canal. Bab el-Mandeb is the southern gateway, and together, this vital sea lane handles about 14% of all global commerce. It's a clear example of how one choke point often feeds directly into another.
But here's the thing, not all choke points are natural gifts of geography. Some of the most important ones were actually carved out of the earth by human hands.
You see, before these massive engineering projects, narrow strips of land, they're called isthmuses, force ships on these epic detours. A ship might have to sail thousands of extra miles just to get around a tiny neck of land. So humanity decided to do something about it.
Take the Suez Canal. It opened way back in 1869, and it completely redrew the map of global trade. By connecting the Mediterranean to the Red Sea, it cut the journey from England to Australia by 1,000 miles. This artificial strait brought commerce roaring back to Mediterranean cities.
On the other side of the world, another isthmus was conquered, the Panama Canal, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
Now what's interesting is that it was originally built by the United States for naval purposes, to quickly move its fleet between oceans. But today, the Panama Canal is a commercial powerhouse, handling nearly 12% of America's international seaborne trade.
So with the entire global economy relying on these narrow passages, a huge question emerges. Who keeps them open and safe?
History shows us that control of these points is a massive element of national power. For centuries, great powers fought wars to control choke points, knowing that whoever controlled the passage controlled the trade.
And modern military doctrine totally reflects this. Securing sea lanes involves everything from hunting submarines and clearing mines to neutralizing threats on land that could target ships passing through a choke point.
This isn't just theory either. It's a constant, active mission. Just look at these numbers for the U.S. Navy. On any given day, about a third of its entire deployed fleet is operating in and around these critical regions, ensuring the passages stay open.
But it's not just about military might. A complex system of international law underpins this freedom of movement. Two key principles are transit passage and innocent passage. Transit passage allows ships and even aircraft to move through international straits freely, while innocent passage ensures all ships can pass through a country's territorial waters.
Ultimately, it's this combination of legal rights and naval presence that provides the assurance the world needs that these vital lines of communication will remain open.
Which leaves you with a pretty big question. We've seen how a single blockage, whether it's accidental or intentional, can cause economic shockwaves around the world. It makes you wonder, just how secure are the supply chains that bring us everything we rely on every single day?